So the main question is, are you an artist or designer wanting to create value? And the most important thing to discuss is what we mean with value. As was introduced by Chris, this is not a discussion about commercial value as such. And when we were working on the project, we discovered that many tools and approaches that are available are often tailored towards, let's say, creating commercial value. And most of you might be familiar with something that's called the business model canvas, which is used a lot by people that set up businesses. But this business model canvas, how useful it is still very much derived from this notion of creating commercial value. So we thought it would be a valid thing to do to create a bridge between, let's say, the important aspects that are in there, but then start from a different perspective. And this different perspective is hopefully the perspective that brings us together here. And this means that this value that we will define in due course is more than just making money. Another aspect in discussing this multitude of values that we are looking for, this might be social value, added value, creative value, but still, and this is a point that was strongly argued by Chris in many of our meetings, is you still need money for whatever endeavor you have, whatever ambition you have, or whatever sustainable or entrepreneurial idea you have to change society for the better. It still needs to be approached as a valid business model. Because if you're running out of money, you will run out of impact on society. And that is a bit of a struggle to find the right way towards that. I think that one of the things that binds us together today is that you all have an ambition to repair what's broken, to mend things that are not right in society as it is right now. And whether this is, I don't know, for the people that are from the fashion brand, but most of the students I encounter within HQ, for example, from the fashion department, are struggling with the notion of fast fashion and the high pollution and short product cycles that are in that part of our economy, and want to change that. And there are many areas where the students we work with have this strong urge to change things for the better. So we think that in order to be effective in those endeavors, we need to create support for students as well as these regions that we're working with, to create different models of being entrepreneurial and have this positive impact on society as well. So what we offer you is to go with us on the journey. And the materials that we have is work in progress. The project is still running. So in a way, you step into this endeavor if you want to, as let's say users or customers, but at the same time, as was mentioned by Chris, and we urge you to do so, is to give us feedback to improve or change things for the better. Now, this journey we have in mind is when we were developing the project, at some point we were discussing the opportunities of opening up the toolkit that we have for students in a wide variety of disciplines and in different phases of their study. And we came up with an idea which we call SSEA, which is the Sunset Evening Academy. And what we thought was it would be nice to have a sort of trajectory with you, which is outside the regular curriculum. So it will not be colliding with any lessons you might have throughout the day, but you can do it in your own time. And there will be some activities in the evening hours. So that's why we called it the Evening Academy. And what we did is we used as a design template for the materials, as Chris briefly showed you, a metaphor of something that we've used before, which is the metaphor of a metro line. And let's say the content, the input that we generated is disclosed to the users, offering a sort of metro line with stations in short chunks of information. So you can decide on yourself what the sequence is of the priorities you want to focus on, which subjects you prefer before others. Although there is an order in which we have provided it that you could follow, but it's up to you. And this interactive metro line offers short clips, and I'll give you a short demo briefly afterwards on the real toolkit. And on top of the metro line offer of short clips, we developed a kind of workbook. This workbook can be downloaded, and this is where you take personal notes and make it your own. And you can work on your own project idea or your own concept using that workbook and being informed by the clips that are offered online. And what we propose in this evening academy concept, and we still have to decide on the proper dates, but it will be somewhere in spring, is that we create what we call ateliers, which will be a number of meetings where all of you can meet, and we break out in small groups, and where we can discuss some of the topics that are offered, get us some feedback, but also work together on your concept. You can present your ideas to others and get feedback on that, and maybe inspired by examples of good practice that you already might have had. So we have also a social component apart from the do-it-yourself aspect of the toolkit. As was shown before, we set up a design trajectory for a new canvas, which is derived from the idea of the business model canvas, but solely focusing on the social business aspect. And we've looked a lot at available resources, and we could not find such a concept already available. Most of the examples are all business model canvas related. So this is a new, let's say, social business model canvas. And here you see the color coding of the metro lines with their labeling, indicating what they have on offer. And this is, let's say, the briefest version of this social business canvas. So if you work through the metro lines and you work through the workbook, in the end, you will have filled this with your own concepts or ideas. And the idea is then, and this is the second bit of the metro line that Chris was mentioning that's still under construction, the next step will be to lead you with this material into, let's say, a real business model canvas for you to be able to have, we could call it a proposition that you could talk to, say, banks or other more business-oriented organizations. In Dutch, we have the Kamer van Koophandel, for example, and they talk a particular language and they ask particular questions. And we hope that this trajectory will lead to providing the right answers for them to recognize it as a valid proposition. This is the briefest schematic of what we propose with the Sunday Evening Academy. So on top, you see a representation of the toolkit as it is online available. And then we think about a trajectory, which will, in total, will take about 5 weeks. And in those 5 weeks, we have 4 evening meetings that are a bit like lectures. So there will be a taught element in there from one of the people that are involved in the project. Could be me, could be Lucy or Chris. And we will identify some topics on top of the material that's available online. And then in the same period, we are planning at least 3 ateliers. So these will be on separate dates. And each atelier will have a theme. So if you look at the schematic, so there will be 2, let's say, more taught element evening meetings. And then there will be 2 ateliers. The first one will be on roadblocks. So what are, let's say, regularly occurring blockades or bears on the road that will have to be overcome to be successful. And we know from it.
Mag ik heel even inbreken? Ik zie alleen nog maar je eerste sheet.
Oh, echt waar?
Ja.
I just heard that my sheets are not coming through right.
I thought you chose for a very minimalistic presentation.
No. I was using several slides. Do you now see a different one?
Yes. Yeah. But we missed. We only saw the first one. So.
Oh my goodness.
No, it doesn't.
Now it's changing slides or not?
Yeah.
Okay, let me then briefly redo the slides to avoid the minimalistic suggestion. So this was the first question. The second is, is value to you more than making money? Do you want to change society for the better? They are still minimalistic, but it's better to share them. We invite you to embark on a journey to create a wider definition of value using the metro metaphor and combine it with the workbook. This is a good rehearsal of the whole story. And then we have this idea of regular ateliers, and brings us to the different color coding of the metro lines and the social business model canvas as we've developed it. And this is, I'd like to reinstate this is a precursor to using the business model canvas as a second stage. And again, the second line is almost completed. Chris and his colleagues are working on it feverishly, and this will be available in a couple of weeks. This brings me to this point. So here we have the metro line. We have got 4 sessions planned in a period of 5 weeks. And these are taught evenings. So this will be a lecture with questions and answers. Will not be too long. And there will be an introduction, a session on ideation and testing, a session on full canvas deployment in the 4th week. And the last one is the transfer from this first social business model canvas towards the business line. So when it becomes an exercise of turning all this value creation into a language that is more like business language, so you can talk to a bank, or you can talk to a chamber of commerce, or any other existing points of contact that help regular entrepreneurs to start their businesses. And the questions they ask, you will be able to answer because you've gone through the stages of this modeling. And then in between, and hopefully they show up now, there will be these ateliers, hopefully internationally, otherwise they are multidisciplinary, given the background of all of you. The first atelier will be on roadblocks, bears on the road, regular obstacles that you encounter in achieving this kind of impact through setting up an entrepreneurial enterprise. The second atelier will be about value. So this could be discussions on different kinds of value you want to generate, sharing ideas, co-creation on your ideas, using the feedback of others. So this is very much a workplace. We will host these events, and there will be people from us present to welcome you and guide things in the right direction. But it will be you yourself to be in charge of these ateliers. It's your place. You can bring your own expertise and your talents, and you can also bring your own questions and use this space available to get answers from others. So it's a co-creation space. And then in the 4th week, so between the last 2 sessions, again, we'll have an atelier on value. And then the last one will be the changeover to the second line that is more towards the business model canvas creation. So this is the outline of the program as we have in mind. And again, we have not set the definite dates yet when this first week will start. And we plan it to do it in 5 weeks. And it will ask a limited amount of your time in the evenings, as you can see. This is basically the setup of the Sunset Evening Academy idea. And now I'd like to try and change my sharing to show you the online tool, and Ina will be looking after me to see whether it works or not. Hopefully you now see my browser with the opening interface, again using the underground metaphor. I'll choose English as the language of choice. You get a short introduction, and then you enter the metro map, as you can see. And on the bottom right, there are a couple of icons, and this is the metro line. And if I
now we only see the front page again.
Oh, again, it doesn't follow my change. Let's try again. Do you see the metro map now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I mouse over the various clips, it will start a short YouTube clip introducing the subject. As you can see, you see here a short excerpt from the metro line, so where you are, and this player that shows you the video, and if you go back, you're back into the full metro line. And there's a downloadable workbook to go with it. Yeah, so you can download the PDF and work with it while you go through the line. And as you can see, underneath is in gray out colors the prepared line, which is work in progress for the full business model canvas follow-up line. So this is the basic interface. It's not more than this.